Now, on your version of the assessment, I gave you a hint up here. I didn't do that normally, but I decided, well, let me see if that information improves the situation. Okay. Now, misconceptions that we have are we just want to react to the numbers that we see. No. You first interpret what basic shapes are involved. This is a rectangle and a triangle. If you want the rectangle, you need the length and width, which we already have. So we already know when we get the area, it's going to be based upon 4 times 12 plus whatever we get when we do the area of the triangle. To do the area of the triangle, we need to know the height and the base. Well, since opposite sides of a rectangle are the same, we already know the base is 12. Now, how do we get the height? Well, the height is this upper piece right here. It's not 10. So students sometimes say, oh, that's a height that goes up and down. That's the number I see. Let's do 10. No, because the 4 matches up here. Whatever is above the 4 is the height of the triangle. Okay, this is what's hard about geometry sometimes, because you got to interpret how to use these numbers to get the proper dimensions. So the height is 6. Okay, so when we do the area, we do 1/2 base times height. That's the area. Okay, now when you get the perimeter, the mistake that people make is they match the 12 to the 2 slanted sides of the roof. But wait, how can you do that if the bottom is horizontal and on the top it's slanted? You can't match these. You can't divide 12 by 2 and think you get 6. When you divide 12 by 2, you get the 2 bases of the right triangles. You don't get the slanted side of the roof. It's not 6. So what you actually have here is 2 right triangles with a height of 6 and a base of 12. And that was the important piece of the information, that 2 congruent triangles are right triangles. And that's what I was referring to. Since this is isosceles, when you divide by 2, both sides are 6. Okay, so what you have there is this problem with the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so then you would do this. That's not 6 times 2. And then when you get 72, the last step is to take the square root, right? Which in this case, you would actually need to calculate, okay, because there's 2 of them. So I think this was like 8.4 something. All right, now you add the outside numbers. So you got the 2 sides of the roof, which were 8.4. You got the 2 4s and you got the 12. Only outside, like this is like a home plate in baseball, right? Only the outside of the home plate, right? So then the perimeter again would be 4 plus 12 plus 4 plus those 2 8.4s. Now the other 2 shapes were both based on rectangles. Okay, and what people are doing is they're doing a couple different things. They're picking the wrong numbers for the dimensions of the rectangles that they're actually using. So if you split this into 2 rectangles that way, you already got the bottom area. This would be 6 times 14. If you want the upper area, you need to get the length and width of the upper area. And that upper area's length is not 12. Part of it is 12. And this upper length is not 5. 5 is a different dimension on the other triangle. All right, well, how do we get that? Well, if this is 5 and that's 14, that means that has to be 9. Okay, because the 14 is horizontal just like the 5. So the other number over here has to make 5 become 14. You could do 14 minus 5. Same thing here. Opposite the 6 is 6. So that means this upper part has to be 6. right, now I know you know how to find the area of a rectangle, but the hard part here is figuring out which numbers to use by using opposite sides of rectangles to find the missing dimensions in the one you don't know. So this would be 9 times 6, and then you add 6 times 14, 9 times 6. Okay, and then over here, you break it up this way. If you did 3 times 6 and added it, you're adding this piece on the bottom that's not part of the area at all. Now, there is a way to use 3 times 6, but I'll get to that in a minute. All right, so right now you got 3 rectangles. The one on the left is 10 times 2. The one on the right is 10 times 4. So to get the area, we know we're going to have a 10 times 2 and a 10 times 4. The area we got to use is there. And so if you thought that area was 6 times 3, you're looking at the numbers you see. You're not getting the actual dimension that you need of the rectangle, and that's this piece. This piece is not 3. Since opposite sides of a rectangle are the same, the other side has to be 10. And if we already have a 3, that means this has to be 7. So that area is actually 7 times 6. Okay. Now, if you wanted to use the 3 times 6 area, you could use it, but what you would do is use it to subtract from the larger rectangle, which sometimes is easier to do. If you did that, then you got to get the other dimension of the larger rectangle. You know what it is 10. So how do you do that? Well, the horizontal numbers on the bottom, 2, 6, 4. So this dimension would be 2 plus 6 plus 4, which is 12. Okay, so now you can take the 10 by 12 larger rectangle and subtract this little sliver on the bottom, 3 times 6. You could do that. That is an option.